What's up, guys? Thank you for clicking on the video. So I'm going to do a C5 update in this one. So we got a lot to do. I'm going to try and go systematically through a couple things. So if you're a C5 follower, you'll probably want to check out what's going on in this video. Basically, I'm going to go through a little bit that has to do with the RGB lights that I've been working on for a very long time. I've gone through a couple different companies and just really been through it with trying to get everything to work the way I needed to. And we're also going to talk about the C5 MaxDin, which has gotten backed up with a couple little issues, definitely still coming. So I'm going to kind of talk about that, and we're going to put that MaxDin in here, and we're going to kind of try and bring it all together in an interesting way. So I'll be doing some 3D scanning for a product that I'm hoping to release in the fall. So that's it. If you're a C5 guy, stick around. You're watching KnightDriveTV.
I always wanted to build fast cars, so self-taught I started with engine swaps, composites in my apartment to multiple shops, tuning, fabrication, and more. 10 years later, the big time, SEMA, Speed TV, I climbed from nothing, but I lost it all. This is my new ride, KnightDriveTV. Failure is not an option. Us car guys keep banging the gears of life.
So it's been kind of tricky. April has not been a good month. I got sick with this stomach thing, and it's been going around Vegas, and it really, man, it plagued me for 2.5 to 3 weeks. It was really tough. Got behind on emails, got behind on a lot of things, but obviously I just kind of put all the energy I had into just keeping everything moving forward of priority. So now Lace has it, and so it's literally the whole month of April has been a struggle. So I'm just starting to feel normal again. I was super exhausted and stuff like that. It was very tricky. So I'm back out in the garage. The temperatures are rising in Vegas, obviously, in late April. So we're gonna get to it. Yeah, so I don't know about you guys, but I tell you what, if they made a 2-post lift specifically for Corvettes, in a strange way, I think I'd like it, because the nature of the lifting points on the C5 is it makes the arms very narrow versus, spread. You get this narrowness, so that really allows a lot of movement.
So in this point in the video, you guys that follow along may remember I had a wobble that I could not find, and I came to the realization that I think I may have pulled out the hub-centric spacers. So I'm checking the diameter, and I'm going to be looking at the diameter on the inside of the wheels that I have, the Forgestar F14s. I think in the process of when I had put the Volk TE37s and test fitted them, I think I had exchanged and forgot to put the hub-centric spacers back in place. And inevitably, I think my wheels were mounted off-center, and I was getting this wobble, and that's why the wobble developed during the track day. I think I was just losing a little bit of torque on the lugs, and lo and behold, I was chasing a crazy problem for quite some time, but kind of on the side.
Okay, so before I go any further, I want to explain hub-centric spacers here really quickly for those not familiar. So what hub-centric spacers do is in the center of your hub where your wheel mounts, there's that ring, so to speak, and that outer diameter of that ring should match the inner diameter of the wheel. And the point is so when you put the wheel onto the hub that it centers. And so aftermarket wheels and things often will have slightly different hub diameters, and so what you do is you have a hub adapter, and sometimes they're made out of plastic, sometimes they're made out of aluminum. Many people think that this is critical to centering a wheel, and that's really not the case. These are there to assist the wheel to be in place, but because lug nuts have that tapered edge that I believe is 37 degrees, can't remember off the top of my head, but because they have that tapered bottom, that is the centering force, so to speak. So that's why you often see lug nuts put on in a star pattern and basically brought to one torque level, then gone around again to a higher torque level. And what you're allowing that seat to do is to help center the wheel onto the hub according to each lug. So where hub adapters come into play, obviously if you watched my Volk TE37 video, not only was the hub diameter different,
but also the bolt pattern was slightly different. And so I could not center the lugs because the bolt pattern was slightly off. So I definitely needed a very accurate hub adapter. So in this case, my wheels have the very exact appropriate 120.65 by 5 bolt pattern. So I was relying on these lug nuts, but it is proof that they still weren't enough to keep it centered as they came out of torque setting a little bit. And so this has prompted me to, lug nuts are very interesting. There's a lot of different variations on the market. With the powder coated wheel and the powder coated lug nut, you're getting a lot of bite. And I think what you want is it to be able to slide in place as this tightens in. And so you will see lug nuts that have a two-piece bottom. They have a separate bottom that's the conical seat is able to swivel or turn in place, so that as you're torquing down, that conical seat is actually just centering it. It's focused on centering itself. So I am looking into some lug nuts and things like that. But lo and behold, that completes the wobble. It's all fixed. Nothing wrong with my car. So on to the next thing.
Yep, so kind of an unsuspecting looking kit. Looks very much the same as the square kit, obviously, but we have some extra wiring, and obviously this is just a prototype sample, but there is a small controller, some interface wiring. So all this will be basically it'll be incorporated into another type of plug like this. The key when I developed this system and why it's taken so long is there were a couple of complexities, and a lot of it had to do with how small the little white diffusers were inside, and fitting RGB capable chips and addressable chips behind there was basically impossible. So we kept compromising downwards on how to get a board behind there. It was RGB capable, keep everything modular, have a controller that could obviously power all of them, and keep it affordable. So you can always achieve, you can achieve whatever you want to achieve if you throw money at the problem. And obviously making one of something or 10 of something that's easy. Making 300 or 500 of something in an efficient manner, that's much more difficult. So you'll see people selling custom lights and doing things like this. The price is very high, the timelines are very slow, and obviously, so you can achieve this in a DIY manner, but try doing it 500 times in a row and efficient and shipping them all in a month. So that's kind of what the challenge was and what took so long. So I think we have it pretty close at this point. So we're gonna probably change the PCBs a little bit and where they begin, but I'm gonna get them installed in the car. I'm basically gonna go through some of the functions, figure out where this goes and where I want to place some of this stuff. And then how I probably want to, a lot of times these Bluetooth controllers, they have a bit of a passive power draw because they're always searching for a Bluetooth connection. So I'll probably run these on a relay basically to make it completely, disconnected from the system when the car's off. So going to get these installed in the car. We're going to be doing a lot, but I want to get these running first and foremost and see what we got. The 3D scanning stuff I'm going to show you next actually happened before this, but that's okay. So we're going to get these installed, trying to basically find how I want to instruct people where to tap in power, things like that. What you see in these RGBs is not final, obviously. The patterns will change a bit. There's some functions that have changed a little bit, obviously, because we're constantly kind of evolving the final production version. So this will give you an idea, though. And so obviously in combination with these, we have the bezels that I've been updating in the KnightDriveTV Corvette enthusiast group that you could see here. These are the culmination of a lot of small hurdles to overcome, because injection molding is pretty tough for certain types of parts, and this was a very tricky part to design. I ran into a lot of issues personally. I had to hire consultants to help me. This was very difficult. Unfortunately, it looks like such a simple piece, but it just totally wasn't. So, now I know. So, in the future, I definitely am hoping I have some help for some certain types of things. So, we're going to go ahead and install these. So just think, we're going to have these out soon. We're going to have the bezels out, really trim this up, make it look like an OEM setup. And that's not to say I won't continue to do some other types of light versions and things like that. I've had a lot of ideas over the years. It's just taken a little while to get through all the obstacles as a kind of a one-man show over here, you know, with obviously Lace and Kelsey helping me on other aspects of things. But as far as development, working on cars, just me. So let's jump in and get the RGBs kind of fit in place and installed. You can kind of get a feel of what it might look like moving forward. So let's get to it.
So here you can see I am reinstalling my motor assemblies. Obviously this won't be required to install RGBs. I was actually scanning this entire area over the month of April, and for a couple of product development reasons. You can see here we were getting a lot of clean scans. I'm going to show you some scan data here ahead, but let's go ahead and continue and get this RGB kit in place and see what we got. Alrighty, so we're doing some editing, printing out for some Maxdin papers. Lace is shipping today. She's waiting for the papers to be printed. Yep. So we got a bunch of Maxdins going out today. You'll be packing. You ain't been packing as much, Lace.
I haven't.
Let's tell the people, after 2.5 years, you haven't been packing too much.
I haven't. It's been a nice break. I've been kind of trying to like ramp up the social media a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. She's a shipper now. You're taping and everything. She's not shipped very much before, but she's shipping now.
And I just love tape.
You love tape?
I just love tape.
Do you? She's using a machine. Little craft tape action. So she's got all the Instagrams. The C5Z Owners Association, C6Z Owners Association, C4 Owners Association, KnightDriveTV, and then Lashy.
Yes. So I've been doing those.
Yeah.
But
what?
I don't know. It's been nice not shipping. I don't mind it now so much though.
Yeah. So I don't know. We got lots in motion here. So got to print stops, or not print stops. I wish I could print the damn stops.
That would be nice. You gotta weld stops.
Yeah, I got to weld the damn. We got to get you welding. Maybe that's what you got to do next. You're not shipping, Lace. We'll get you TIG weld.
I mean, it's been a long time.
Yeah. So I had to bust out my best camera to actually capture these RGBs as well as possible, using the compensation on my Sony camera, which is showing you the main image of the lights. Obviously, I'm using a different camera on my phone to capture what I'm doing on the phone, but to really get these the vibrance of these in person, this is pretty close. But these are very captured by the human eye a lot better because there's just so much vibrance to them. But you can see all colors, hues. We have a lot of different patterns built in. This is a company that, you know, if you're familiar with RGB stuff, there's a lot of RGB things out there, and this functionality is not necessarily new. Obviously, it just comes down to working with a company that can produce a lot of this in an affordable way so that I can provide it to you guys. But there is going to be an evolution, as with all things. My intent will be to try and make new patterns and new add-ons, and we're actually even working on a KnightDriveTV app to kind of bring some functionality to some other things that I have planned, add-ons. What you're seeing here is not the end. There is more of an extension to this stuff that I haven't shown yet. So I'm just letting you see the possibilities and the potential. Not for everyone, obviously, but as I will show you ahead, you can still get into just selecting a particular color, just something as plain as white, but just having the option for a car show or just a parking lot or to show your grandkids or whatever, it does serve all people, but it still gives you the core functionality that the lights always gave from the beginning. So I'm trying to give you a good opportunity to see here how this works. I've actually dialed the camera down to even capture it even more. But it's affordable. I think we'll be able to achieve the objectives that I wanted to achieve. Everything is modular in terms of the entire harness. all the connections. So when I warranty these things, if you ever have any issues, these are the keys. You know, anything hardwired is hard to replace. This is all going to be modular and easily replaceable. Once you're installed, it's going to be something that can sustain with the car. And when I show you ahead here with the 3D scans and with the bezels, you're going to see that we're going to have a really OEM grade, I think, product, as if, you know, pop-ups were a thing, even in more modern times. Maybe these were the features you might have.
You can see that the start and finish is on the side, and it's that way on both sides. So while that might be okay on the passenger side of the car, I would want that opposite on the driver's side, and that's not the way it is. So we reoriented these to be at the bottom, and so they will both start in the center bottom. But you have an abundance of options here. So this gives us a lot of options though, and obviously you can just revert to simple colors, red, yellow, kind of a purplish hue, a blue. You do have the white. As you can see, the white ones are still vibrant, very bright white. So you can have that default. But these are, you know, the camera, if you could tell how, you know, I have the compensation turned down so that you can't even really see the car around it. These are overwhelming the camera quite a bit. But then you've got infinite variable to where you have white in the centers, but obviously as you go out, you can go through the full spectrum. You can match literally any color. And obviously this is pretty common for RGB stuff that's available in the market. The tricky part for us was to incorporate that into these lights. And a lot of people have asked for ambers and whatnot. We can get pretty good amber hues here, a little yellowish goldish. Here's more of your amber. So lots of options, and I hope this is a good add-on for people. So another option you have is these patterns. You can custom build these patterns, and it will kind of alternate. So this is kind of like, you can kind of see where I'm going with this. So there you have kind of an alternating cycle, and you could do it a couple different ways. Obviously you have some options here, as you can see. Do some things like this. So you can pretty much build any kind of pattern that you want to build. So guys, there's a lot more to this. Obviously this is kind of preliminary. I'm going to jump forward and show you some 3D scanning stuff, just for the sake of seeing kind of how I do some different types of development and things like that here. We're obviously very close on the bezels. I'm going to be updating that in another video. There's going to be another C5 video pretty quick. I'm kind of combining a lot of things here in this video. I'd like to kind of portion it out, but as you guys may know, I'm like constantly doing things, and I'm just trying to package stuff so you can kind of go along the ride and kind of just, you know, get a little understanding of kind of like what I'm doing and where things are. The bezels are very close. I'm going to be kind of focusing on that more in the next video, because we're actively printing the final prototype. So and the next one I'm going to do a refinement. I actually switched stops and things. I had some old stops on here, so I'm going to kind of refit the kit, bring it back to the pre-scanned height, which this one is good. I think that one's a little bit low because I switched the stops. So I'm going to switch all that stuff out. We're going to print the bezels, put the bezels on here. I'm printing them in a carbon PLA, obviously just for validation fitment. Obviously the final product is going to be in ABS that's injection molded. We don't want PLA won't survive as bezels, obviously, for those of you familiar with that material. So they're going to be injection molded in ABS, but once you do injection molds, it's a done deal. There's no turning back. The mold is done. So we are printing them in PLA. Just going to do the final fitment. I want to make sure everybody has a little bit of adjustment, wiggle room. Not everybody's adjusters are, you know, fluid and in good shape. I think the bezels are going to cause a few people a little bit of heartache because, you know, while you can get away with kind of throwing the kit in there, the bezels are going to require you to really dial everything in. So the other part of that is we have the Maxdin, which is done in this car. So it is production ready. I actually, well, I'll give you a little preview. On the Maxdin, as you can see, is this is not a 3D printed part. Let me see if I can. As you can see, this is not a 3D printed part. This is injection molded. This is all done. So This is our final trim piece. As you can see here, I'm gonna block my face so that the thing focuses on it. You can see this is a final piece for the, I know this is weird, guys. I need a cameraman. Here we go. I have it focus on it this way. So we could put, we are ready. So basically, if you are a Maxdin guy, we're gonna I'm gonna show you how you can control your headlights and everything through this thing. Obviously, it's Android based, so lots of things coming in the next video. So let's go ahead and just jump forward. Let me show you some of the 3D scanning. We have a lot of stuff coming. I'm just really hoping to bust through this log jam that I'm kind of gotten involved in with the bezel. All right, I'm done with the bezels, and so once we're past that, we're going to be smooth sailing, guys, because we got a lot of other stuff coming with carbon parts. Finally, it's gonna break through, and we're gonna get moving. So that's about it. Let's jump forward. Let's do some 3D scanning, and you guys can kind of see how that process works. Obviously, that's why I have a lot of dots on this car. If you've ever seen this car with the little dots everywhere, these are tracking dots. Basically, well, you'll see how the 3D scanner picks up on these things, creates kind of a dot matrix, and then uses that dot matrix to guide itself while it uses a laser to collect data. So it's kind of a two-layer process. It combines the two, and basically you have an extremely accurate surface. I can bring this down to like 0.1 millimeter surface accuracy over like 8 feet. So, and that's just literally a handheld thing in open space. That's how calibrated it is. It's insane. So, to be able to do this stuff in my garage in Las Vegas, obviously it's not cheap. These tools aren't cheap, but it compared to what this would have costed 20 years ago, it's unimaginable. So let's jump forward. Let's do some 3D scanning and stick with me. Obviously still getting through some settings on this thing, but we are getting deep into that pocket, and you're going to see with the single line laser, probably going to get even deeper. The challenge is always, there are two cameras that triangulate the distance, and that's the key. When one of those cameras gets blocked, it loses its reference, so the dots help and things like that. But reorient some things. Let's take a look at what we have so far, see about refining it a little more.
So this scanner you see here is not the one that I've shown on the channel previously. This is a much more advanced version, which gives me more laser and capability on shiny black surfaces. I obviously have the single line ability to look down into pockets, so it's really gotten me some good data.
Well, it's the next morning, came up here, and I'm like, why did this stop? So it says it's got a change filament error. Obviously, that's not the case, but the filament sensor's not lit. All right, so I got another filament sensor, just plugged it in, stuck a piece of filament in it. So we lost our filament sensing capability, but it is heating up, and we'll see if it can resume printing in a correct manner. These machines are kind of China machines, so not as good as my production machines I make the headlights with. This is not a big deal for one of those, but for this one we'll see. And it turns the bed temp way down, so all that talk I did and didn't do anything. Oh yeah, it just wrecked it. It just wrecked the print. Yeah, guys, with that said, I'm gonna ship some shipments today, and I restarted the print there. As you can see, there's no Hummer. So if you guys are Corvette guys that have been following the Hummer thing, the next video is coming out. We're taking a change of direction on the Hummer. So the Hummer's not here. Oh, check this one out. Look at that. Yeah, I wonder where that came from. So yeah, he's got some Hummers. It's not gonna be here for a little bit. So I'm gonna jump in the truck, start loading some shipments, and all you guys with Maxdins, a bunch of headlights as always, spare parts, stuff like that, headed to you. And the next video for C5, we will see what happened with the bezels. We're gonna update some stuff on the Maxdin RGB, and we're gonna be talking about Maxdin stuff because the beta group is gonna begin. So catch you on the next one.